Hi guys, today I want to discuss spin awareness and recovery procedures and just go over different phases of the spin, recovery, and some of the mistakes made when attempting recovery from a stall-induced spin. First, we'll discuss what causes spins. Simply put, a spin is a stall in which one wing drops, being essentially more stalled than the other wing. Um, the wing with more lift rises and increases in lift over the wing that's more stalled, and that increases the angle of attack on the lower wing, or the wing that's more stalled, and that just further stalls and decreases that lift on that wing, and the aircraft starts to begin a auto rotation with a nose down attitude towards the ground, and it continues in that descent until the spin is recovered, hopefully by the pilot. So situations in flight where unintentional spins are likely to occur. Uh, one of the probably the biggest ones is skidding or uncoordinated turns, particularly during the base to final, where a pilot might overshoot the runway, and in an attempt to realign with the runway, getting the aircraft uncoordinated, entering a stall, and then having a spin as a result of that due to the uncoordination of the aircraft and the stall. And being close to the ground, recovery is not very likely. The other one, big one, is the climb out after departure. You can think of maybe a short field with an obstacle. So you're climbing out, low speed, high power setting. If you're not compensating for that left turning tendency of the aircraft, and the aircraft was to stall with that nose high attitude, potential for entering a spin is very high at that point, and being that close to the ground be a really bad situation to be in. Something else to remember is that the aircraft can stall at any airspeed. Anytime the critical angle of attack is exceeded, the aircraft will stall. So, having a simplistic view that as long as you're above stall speed, you're okay is kind of a dangerous way to think, and unfortunately, I think a lot of us get caught up in that and just watching what our airspeed is doing. And of course, if you're uncoordinated, that airspeed might not be accurate anyways. And if we're doing all this close to the ground, again, you need time to recover. So if you're 500 feet, even 1,000 feet above the ground, it's probably not anywhere near close enough to even be able to have enough time to think about making a recovery. So I want to talk about the 4 phases of the spin. So there's the entry phase of the spin, where all the things that are necessary for the spin to occur take place. So if the stall was intentionally demonstrated, you would put the aircraft basically in the power off stall, while full rudder pedal all the way to the stop is applied in the direction that you want the aircraft to spin. And as it stalls, you just pull the elevator control all the way back and hold it. Of course, if we're not intending this to happen, some of those things that we discussed in the previous slide, we're in doing that base to final, or hopefully we're up pretty high where we're still able to recover. But if something was to happen, we're demonstrating a stall and we do it improperly and the plane enters a spin, this would be the next stages. So the incipient phase is where the rotation begins. So the aircraft stalls, begins to rotate. The rotation becomes fully developed, and then basically try to recover or attempt to recover prior to 360 degrees of rotation. The developed phase is when the rotation rate, the airspeed, and vertical speed becomes stabilized while the aircraft, the flight path is almost vertical, so straight up and down. This is probably one of the most uncomfortable portions of the flight. The recovery, whatever your aircraft manufacturer, whatever's in the POH, that's what needs to be followed. But the generic recovery procedure would be to follow these steps: reduce the power to idle, neutralize the ailerons, so just neutralize the ailerons, no banking at all, and then full opposite rudder. So I mean all the way to the floor, full stops, opposite of the spin, and then to briskly move the elevator control full forward to break the stall. So after the rotation stops, neutralize the rudder and bring the nose up slowly, cautiously to level flight. So some spin training considerations, safety considerations. Use caution when demonstrating stalls. And make sure you don't inadvertently start a spin. You don't want to have to demonstrate a spin recovery on a check ride when you're not a CFI or testing to be a CFI. You do want to be aware, have spin awareness as part of training for private, commercial, CFI. All those require the awareness training. It's just the CFI requires the actual training and spin recovery. So some common mistakes made during a spin recovery: failure to apply to the full stop rudder in the opposite direction of the spin, full stop all the way to the floor of the rudder. Failure to apply the brisk forward elevator to break the stall. Waiting for the rotation to stop before applying the full forward elevator. So it's kind of like a hesitation. Slow movements during recovery, taking too long to go between these things. It needs to be a rapid succession. Another one is secondary stalls. So excessive back pressure after the rotation stops. You're getting in a hurry to get back to level flight and get that secondary stall. The other one is not pulling back enough, not enough back pressure, and developing excessively high airspeed. So in conclusion, stalls can occur at any airspeed. So try not to get too caught up in that. Remember that if you're, it depends on the aircraft, but a lot of aircraft, you get in a side slip or uncoordinated like that, you can actually get a false reading with the airspeed indicator anyways. Practice this stuff with competent instructors. Safe altitude's your friend. Make sure that your aircraft is approved for spin training. Not all aircraft are, and you definitely don't want to bend the rules with that. So hope that this is helpful, and look forward to seeing what everyone else has.